Namaste. The light and love of the divine in me honors and greets the light and love of the divine in each and every one of you here this morning. Thank you for being here. This is Awakening Ways, and we are a spiritual community in the lineage of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And what I love about Ernest Holmes is that he's so clear about what it is that we believe. He has a whole statement of beliefs about this teaching, the science of mind. And this teaching is all about looking for the good. You know, he says there's a power for good in the universe, and that we can learn to harness that power for good for ourselves and bring that good forth in our own lives. Having said that, we may need some help doing that. Because we in our humanness, we just step into those places of lack and limitation, of anger, of fear, all of those places. And we need to be reminded of the truth of that goodness that is ever present within us and around us and through us, and that we are actually that goodness itself. It's not that it's just available to us. Goodness is another name for the divine. Goodness is another name for God. And so that God is in us and as us. We can't be separate from us. So we are actually that goodness itself. Think about that for a minute. We don't have to go find it. We just have to open up and just be it and allow it to shine forth in our lives. And so we as a spiritual community are here to support anyone who is on that path, anyone who is on that journey, to opening up to living in this greater, more expansive way, in this happier, more joy-filled way. And so we offer classes, we offer Sunday gatherings like this, we offer meditations, we offer spiritual counseling. We're all about the power of prayer. So many ways to support anyone who wants to continue to pursue this path of joy and goodness. And what I know is that if you are here today, that's your goal. That's what you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. So we are here to help you, support you in any way we can. And whatever it was that brought you here this morning, and wherever you go when you leave here this morning, for now, for this perfect, precious moment in time, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. Thank you for being here. A really special morning. Again, we've had so many of them now in a row with our remarkable guest speakers. This morning, Timber Hawkeye is joining us again. It's always so special when Timber comes and shares his wisdom, his deep, deep wisdom. It's so, he has a way of expressing himself so clearly and so deeply. And I always feel transformed after I've heard one of his talks. And so I'm so looking forward to his message this morning, looking forward to hearing what he has to offer us. So before we begin, I'd like to just kind of prepare the pathway a bit for us to move forward this morning. And so if you would, if you're comfortable, just take a deep breath and allow your eyes to softly close. Just that deep, deep, deep inhale, and hold it at the top for just a moment, and then exhale freely. And let your body relax. Allow yourself to come to this moment fully, wholly, and completely. Dr. Holmes said this. He said, I am strong with the power of God. I am held in the goodness of God. I am endowed with the perfection of God. And I am guided by the wisdom of God. All of these things, all that divine is, in us, as us, moving through us, working through us, living in us and as us, and all of that, and all that we know that divine presence to be, is in us and is right here, right now. It is ever present. It is all-knowing, and it is all-powerful, whatever it is we call this divine presence. And so we just call it forth into our conscious minds. We call it forth into our awareness, and we see it in what we see with our eyes, with the people, the faces. We hear it in the words that we hear this morning. We feel it in our heart. We feel ourselves surrounded and immersed in this infinite divine presence that is right where we are. And so we breathe it in fully again, breathing in, knowing that what we are breathing is the essence and substance of the divine that we are taking literally into our lungs and into our bodies and allowing it consciously to circulate within us. What a beautiful and remarkable day this is. This has started in that way, and it will continue to unfold magnificently this morning. I know that Timber's words move into our hearts and minds. I know that he is filled with that presence, that wisdom, and that grace of the divine as he moves through this morning. And so we celebrate everything that is moving in us, around us, and through us this morning. Knowing it is all already perfect, I simply give my thanks and allow it to be so. And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
That was quite the introduction, Terry. And I'm starting to really understand the kind of pressure we are under, whether it be guest speakers or ministers or whatnot, to always be that voice of inspiration and motivation. And, you said Ernest Holmes was so articulate in writing down and being very clear about what it is we believe. And while that's wonderful and it's incredible and it's great, and I think we all need to be really good about honing down and figuring out what our values are, writing it down or talking about it, or wearing it around your neck or a statue in the yard, that's one aspect of it. But to always live it, to always be that inspiration, to always be that inspired and faith-filled and strong, and it's not always easy, and as much as we pre-schedule these talks and whatnot, and you provide that introduction. Oh, here's this guy who uplifts us. I think I want to really highlight that there are times when even me, us, all of us perhaps, have what I've called this last week a crisis of spirit, so to speak. And it, we're expected to maybe sweep that under the rug and put our best face forward, and that's not who I am. So I really want to talk about what my struggle has been in the last couple of weeks, and how a simple change in perspective helped me through it. So a little backstory: when I first moved to the U.S. in the early '90s, and people found out that I was from Israel, they assumed one of two things: either I dodged bullets on the way to school every day, because the Israel that was depicted in the news was a war-torn country, and that's all American media knew about Israel. Or people thought that I lived in a tent on a sand dune and I was riding around on a camel, because that's what they pictured the Middle East to be, just one big desert. And even now, with the internet and YouTube exposing us to more information than ever before, the news still produces dramatized and sensationalized coverage that paints reality with such oversaturated depictions. It becomes very difficult for us to know what's really happening. And if you know much about me, you know that I have turned off TV and news and radios, newspapers, magazines, all of that many years ago. And I don't really know what's going on. But especially since I haven't left the house since March, and now I'm invited to give more and more of these talks over Zoom, I thought, okay, it's important that I know what's going on in the world, in the interest of being informed. I made the mistake of reading news articles from various sources, visiting a few websites. And I'm really sad to say that it didn't take long for the despair to sink in. I got a taste of what so many of us are experiencing with this overwhelm of media that I've simply avoided by turning it off for so many years. The moment I turned it on and really realized, oh my gosh, people are consuming this day in and day out, it explains so much. When I read about something as simple as wearing a face mask being such a divisive topic among Americans, that even something like that has turned political, so much so that airplanes are turning around mid-flight because someone refuses to wear a face mask, and people are, they're pulling guns on one another. The whole country is torn about what's more important to protect: people's lives or the economy. It was really heartbreaking. And don't get me wrong, it's not because I claim to have the answers or because I think I know what's best. I most certainly don't. But it became clear that if anyone watches the news more than, I don't know, once a year, let alone every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, it's no wonder people are so high strung or medicated or stressed, or they have anxiety or depression or some dangerous combination of the two. The majority of people seem so unhinged. And that's, I guess, what I mentioned in the beginning. I told my friend, I said, I'm losing my faith in people, not just anti-vaxxers or anti-maskers or the anti-presidents or the anti-whatever. Everyone is so vocal on media about what they are against, with very little consideration as to what they are for. And my friend did me the incredible favor, gave me this incredible gift of reminding me that when I claim to have lost my faith in people, my true mistake was misplacing of my faith. All of us here today, as Terry mentioned, you, me, our faith is in a power that is much greater than us. You can call it God, the universe, Mother Nature, energy, Allah, emptiness, the divine, Hashem. The name doesn't matter, but that's where our faith lies, not in people. So losing my faith in people is maybe a good thing. It's an indication that I put my faith in the wrong place. And so I closed my eyes and I just gratefully accepted a deep breath. And instead of closing my heart to the world because of all the violence that I see and shutting myself down and thereby turning off, when I shut myself down, I turn off my pilot light of trust. Sometimes it's full on flaming, but sometimes it's just a pilot light. It's just this tiny little thing. And when I shut myself down, I turn off that pilot light of trust and faith in something bigger than us. I turned the volume down on all the noise that's coming in from the outside, so to speak. And then I turned back into that clear voice that I know is inside all of us. The voice that recognizes the difference between the ego within all of us, the one that wants to shout at people and get mad at them, angry and hostile when they don't agree with us, and the voice within that is so secure in its trust of higher power, it doesn't need validation from the outside world. So it was kind of like turning, I don't, in media speak, if you would, if you've ever seen a sound studio and engineer, that they have these levers of turning the volume up on one thing and down on another and fading one out and fading one. I visualized my intake and I realized I need to turn down the voice inside of me that is angry and hostile and egotistical and thinking that I know what's best, that I know how to run a country in the middle of a pandemic, that I have the solutions. I turn that voice all the way down and I amplified the voice within me that I guess just says, I don't know, getting really comfortable with not knowing and being honest about that, not arguing with someone, well, no, that's not true, or this is the best way, just allowing this. Oh my gosh, immediately I felt my shoulders relax. I find that we only get defensive when we feel threatened. And I'll be honest, nobody else's opinion will penetrate the sanctuary of what I know in my heart is beyond our limited comprehension of how the universe works. The more I let go of ego, the more ways I discover how often what initially seems terrible or horrible is actually necessary, because there's a lesson that we apparently didn't learn when it was being gently taught to us. We need to get hit with this lesson over the head. And so sometimes getting hit in the head is a blessing. It's up to each of us to see it as such. I mean, the alternative, when we say something like this shouldn't be happening, that's just our ego throwing a tantrum. It essentially says, I know what's best and I know how this person should act and what this person should say. And then I just laugh at the audacity that I have to claim that God is somehow making a mistake. Like, just the thought of that makes me chuckle. Like, who do you think you are? So as for us in this room today, people of faith, let's not mistakenly put our faith in people, but instead in the divine power that we claim to believe doesn't make any mistakes. Let's truly have that be presented in our behavior in the world. I don't know if any of this is making sense, but that this divine power is made up of nothing but love and healing energy. And what feels like the end is often only the beginning. And just like that, like magic, that frown, that down, the despair that I was feeling, that just turned right upside down, and all the tension in my body was released. And from the space of inner peace, then I can calmly face the world in all of its beauty. And it is a beautiful world in which we live. So I know that we're all hungry for answers. I posted something online the other day that staying in a dysfunctional relationship because you're lonely is like drinking poison because you're thirsty. And I know that we're all thirsty for answers. And I'm confident that with time, and only with time, we will get those answers. But let's not just drink poison just because we're thirsty. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I think we need to be really conscious of what is the news media really covering? What are we being exposed to? Is it done to increase ratings, to get more likes, to go viral because it's most upsetting? And just like they used to say in advertising that sex sells, I think fear and paranoia and feeding into that little part of us that is afraid, that is scared, that sells. It sells big time. And I'm not going to demonize the marketing industry. They're actually brilliant in what they're doing. I'm going to take the responsibility on me and just say, just because they're feeding it to me doesn't mean that I have to eat it. And so I guess in a way, by reminding you, I'm reminding myself as well, not to misplace my trust in people, but to put my faith in what is much greater than any of us. Put it in what has gotten us through everything for centuries. And despite all the odds, here we are. We are finding ways to light our lamp 4 months into this pandemic, with what we thought was only enough oil to keep it lit for a few days. We don't need to look out at the world and fight the darkness out there. Again, whenever I'm invited to speak, I've often even gotten into, I don't want to say arguments, that just I've upset so many people because I talk so much about working on inner peace, and they say, well, that's so selfish, if you're working on you. But I think when we work on this, when we take inventory about where is the hostility, the darkness, and the hatred and the animosity within me, it's so easy to fight it out there and say, well, they're wrong. And where am I? So the invitation, this working on myself, it's not selfish. It's when I take inventory of the darkness within me and I shed light on that, then we can come together as a united force for good, rather than letting that which we collectively hate be what unites us. I mean, nothing creates a stronger cohesive force than something that we're all against. But let's not have that be the glue that holds us together. Let's have the united force be the good. Again, I it's so hard to know if I'm making any sense because I'm staring at a screen. I'm not in a room with all of you, and it's a challenge in and of itself. I feel we need to trust also, even now, that what needs to come through will come through, and what needs to resonate will resonate, and what doesn't won't, and it will with some and won't with others. It's the moment it's done, it's out of my hands. I just have to release it and forget about the far right or the far left. I want us to be fueled by what we are for, not by what we are against. And this may be a tough challenge for you for today, but when we're done with the service today, go onto your social media page, your Facebook posts, your tweets. Just scroll back over the past few weeks, months. Look at your tweets, look at your messages. and ask yourself, am I trying to push what I believe on people? You know, am I trying to push it onto to someone? Especially people who didn't ask for my opinion. And I'm doing this under the guise of helping them. Am I really part of this solution, or am I just another media source using my platform to amplify my rage, my anger, my hatred, what I'm against? How am we all have a platform now. And so the invitation is humbly look at your feed and go, what am I promoting here? Am I really part of the solution if I'm constantly on the attack of everything with which I don't agree? This may be a tough invitation to accept, but I had a teacher who said, don't give by throwing. We can't give by throwing. Just like we can't push what we believe on someone. It's in the word, we're pushing them away. I guess in a nutshell, I could have just said this and I've been done, but if we claim to want peace, let us start by being peaceful. When I come back out of my shell, when I'm ready, and I look out in the world, when I look out at the media feed, let's make sure that we've each done our part to make sure it's a beautiful, wonderful source and force to uplift us, not push us back into our shell. So again, if we claim to want peace, let's start by being peaceful. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be, you know that there are. And if you wanna live high, live high. But if you wanna live low, live low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go, you know that there are. You can do what you want, opportunities on. You can find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true, you can make it undo. You'll see, it's easy. All you need to know. But if you wanna say yes, say yes. But if you wanna say no, say no. 'Cause there's a million ways to go, you know that there are. And if you wanna be me, be me. But if you wanna be you, be you. There's a million ways to do, you know that there are. You can do what you want, opportunities on. You can find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true, you can make it undo. You'll see, it's easy. All you need is to know. Whether if you wanna sing out, sing out. Sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are, you know that there are, you know that there are. You know that there are. You know that there are. You know there are.
Thank you for that, guys. And Timber, thank you so much. It's always wonderful to be reminded that experiences like we're having in the world right now are just, you know, the divine cosmic 2x4 hitting us in the head, reminding us that we've gotten off track. That was wonderful. Thank you. And also the fact that in many, many ways, the media is creating the appearance that we assume is reality. That was really wonderful. Thank you. I really, really want to thank you for that. I appreciate it. And don't forget that you can watch this again if you'd like, folks. It's going to be on YouTube, probably on Tuesday. Usually by the time Ron and I get everything done, by the time he gets done editing it and I get it on to YouTube, it's usually Tuesday. So if you want to watch it again, you certainly can. And I want to thank, of course, our musicians, Soulshine, for being with us today. And Ron, thank you very much for what you do to make this all happen. Without you, I don't know how it would happen. Really. And also, and this is very important, a reminder that we're thankful for the financial support that you all give us. And we can't be here without you. Whether it's Zoom online or whether it's back at the pavilion or classes at our office, we need your support to continue doing the work that we do and to continue having this beautiful community together. Remember that you can make a prayer request. As Terry said earlier, prayers are very, very important to us. You can make a prayer request simply by sending an email to awakeningways@thegrid.net. And remember to put the word prayer or prayer request in the subject line, and it will get out to the whole soul support team immediately. The problem is if people leave it on the phone, it can be there for a couple of days before somebody gets into the office to check it, since we're all working from home. Our Seed of Awakening for next month, for August, will be plenty. And our guest speaker next week will be me. Terry and I will be back speaking again, and we will continue to have Timber and other people interspersed in there, but we will also be speaking. So with that, I'm going to leave it, and I just want to give you all this blessing this day. May your path be smooth. And as you walk through the world, may you do so in safety and in love and in peace, for you are the divine having a physical experience. And that experience should be and must be one of joy, that we may help heal the world. Blessings to you all. Namaste.